Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
So that was on silent the whole time. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I know. I figured it out too late. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel. Yes, I was accurate on over there in Rumble that it was sound off because there was no sound. But it is what it is. Anyway, I am here. And, you know, there's some breaking news in Ireland, and I'm going to even do that before I do the show. Apparently, Leo Varadkar, I'm not sure. I'm sure he's not. Oh, you heard everything pre-show? Oh, all the music? Oh, okay, that's cool. Maybe I just when did I click that? Oh, I clicked it when I played the intro. Anyway, Leo Varadkar, I know I'm butchering his name. There's breaking news. He, the Prime Minister of Ireland, has suddenly resigned this morning. And you know, I'm just going to put this on the screen. And this is end wokeness. Now I'm wary of this assessment, but here's what this person says. Breaking. Leo Varadkar of Ireland announced his sudden resignation. This is a huge win for the Irish people. Varadkar is a globalist who infamously complained about whites in Ireland. His recent referendums to make the Irish constitution gender neutral got crushed electorally in landslide losses, which is fantastic, right? That's good. But I'm curious why he suddenly resigned. Let's see. Let's listen to this little press conference here.
When I became party leader,
or maybe not. Why did that stop all of a sudden?
Taoiseach back in June 2017, I knew that one part of leadership is knowing when the time has come to pass on the baton to somebody else, and then having the courage to do it. That time is now.
Oh, this is courage,
so I'm resigning
I guess.
as President and Leader Fine Gael effective today, and will resign as Taoiseach as soon as my successor is able to take up that office. I've asked our party General Secretary and Executive Council... When I became party leader...
Well, that's it. That. I guess resigning is courage now? Oh, wait, let's see. Just in the Prime Minister of Ireland unexpectedly resigns. Oh, this is a little long. Let's try this one. Let's see what this one is, because I really want to know if there's any explanation here. This is from Sky News.
I've had the privilege to serve for the past 20 years as a public representative, 13 as a member of Cabinet, 7 as leader of my party, and most of those as Taoiseach of this great country. It has been the most fulfilling time of my life. Working with colleagues, I've had the honour of helping to lead Ireland from unemployment to full employment, from a budget deficit to budget surplus, from austerity...
Wait. From unemployment to full employment? Like, did nobody have jobs when he got there? I know what he meant.
Prosperity, through a pandemic in which we saved lives and livelihoods, through Brexit when we prevented a hard border between North and South and protected our place in Europe. I'm proud that we've made the country a more equal and more modern place when it comes to the rights of children, the LGBT community, equality for women, and their bodily autonomy.
Well,
more recently, we've led the country through an inflation and cost of living crisis, the worst of which is now thankfully behind us.
Led them through it?
We've made significant steps towards affordable childcare and universal healthcare, making access to both more affordable for more people.
Okay.
We've made work pay better, with the implementation of a national living wage, statutory sick pay, lower personal taxes, improved family leave, allowing parents to spend more time with their children in those crucial early years.
Okay, interesting. except for the tax part, he sounds like a Democrat. We would expect a Democrat here in the United States to do. So anyway, I'm sure at some point we will get some form of why this happened. Maybe perhaps he got a little drunk on St. Patrick's Day and felt up some lady or something. I don't know. Resigning before sexual assault accusations come out. Well, could be. Did he get too drunk? Yeah, in fact, that's what you said. Did he get a little too drunk for St. Patrick's Day? Well, let's say hi to everybody, and then I can tell you who I'm talking to. First in chat over in Rumble, Mr. Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And, of course, his own theme music. And if you're out here on Rumble, it says there's 5 or 6 of you. Where are you at? say something in the chat. Wait, what did I just do? What the hell did I just do? No, okay, wrong one. Oh, no, it says there's 10 of you. Where are you? Sound off, like the Mickey Mouse Club and shit. All right, on YouTube, first in chat is, of course, also Avocados Diablo. He gets the bell on both sides. Does that mean he goes both ways? Oh, damn. Don't say that kind of shit, Marty. Come on. That's wrong. Also, good morning to Kara Soldier, Mike Savage Blarg, our local Irishman who may be able to shed some light. Although I saw you said that it won't make any difference. The next guy's just as shitbag as possible. Correct. Good morning. Welcome to the show over on Rumble. Thanks for sounding off. I appreciate it. Also, good morning, Zed the Snarky, Renee Mayette, Simon Wolfwood, Lord Stanhope, Andrew Thorsten, the Mostman's Extended Family Band. What's that mean? I don't know. Also, hello. Did I say Lord Stanhope? Yes, I did. Anonymity. T2, I'll be back. Amazing Disgrace in the house. GDSOB. Who else is here? TC's in the house. Welcome, sir. Also, I'm scrolling. Is that it? Is that everybody? Oh, Jimmy Das Hotep's in the house. Okay, let's try that again. Jimmy Das Hotep's in the house. There we go. From Hotep Nation. And Tyler F., good morning. Oh, and Swirly is in the house. And my favorite Canadian, Jaeger Pony, is here. So greetings, good morning, everybody. Let's get the show going because there's... Oh, and Roasted Opinion, too. What's up? All right, and Mike Savage is on Rumble, too. Thank you. I need people to just sound off on Rumble. Sometimes I don't believe there's as many people they say are here. It says there's 9. I know the 10th one is me because I have a window open, but there's got to be something. So anyway, let's get into the news. Let's get into it. I got to get through this fast. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of things, okay? Let's see. Avocados Diablo. I don't go both ways, but put enough zeros on that check and I am flexible. Well, I've heard you're flexible. Oops, that's a little too much information. All right, anyway. All right, and TC's on Rumble too. All right, let's get into the news because there's a lot to talk about. Again, breaking news. Leo Varadkar of Ireland stepping down. Irish Prime Minister has resigned. This is another one says, and this is Father Calvin Robinson. Another win for Ireland. Varadkar should step down as leader too. People are starting to push back against globalism and woke ideologies. Well, yeah, they got, again, now I don't have a link to it, but yeah, that public referendum on whatever that was failed miserably, and they were expecting that to happen. Does anyone have any really good insight on this? It's just a surprising announcement he's stepping down after losing 2 constitutional referendums and facing growing backlash over his mass immigration policy. Yeah, I know he was railing about white people in Ireland, which I thought that was, isn't that a given? It's a redundant. It should be, or not necessarily should be. I mean, sure, you can have immigrants, but anyway, Ireland's, and this is funny. Irish girl says Ireland's celebrating the resignation of Varadkar, the worst Taoiseach Ireland has ever had. I guess that's is that the Irish word for prime minister? He's a WEF boy. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm asking Mike Savage. His party's supposed to be our right-wing party, just barely to the right of Stalin. Oh my goodness. That's good. Thank you, Zed the Snarky, also for showing up on Rumble over there. Okay. Time magazine. Oh, and it's funny because Time magazine featured Leo on their cover in July 2017 with the tag "Globalism has been good to Ireland," and the Prime Minister wants to keep it that way. He leaves in infamy as globalist agenda utterly rejected by the Irish people. So there you go. He's gone. Oh, I. Okay, you know that's a Hall & Oates reference. Okay, also, now, trending stuff. It's Hump Day! It is Wednesday, the 20th of March, 2024, on the Morning Night Live. Did I say welcome to the Morning Night Live? Yeah, I said I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog9 on the internet. So anyway, it's Hump Day. Oh, isn't this cute? Oh, this is, here's how some people are this person's celebrating Hump Day. It's Hump Day. Fuck Trump.
Fuck Trump.
Oh,
Fuck Trump.
So brave and glorious.
Fuck Trump.
Aw. Okay. Happy Hump Day. As idiots. Oh, you can't even see it. Here, let me show it to you. This is how someone's celebrating Hump Day with this silly little video.
Fuck Trump.
Fuck Trump. Fuck Trump.
Okay, it's just a whole video. There's more people doing it. Stunning and brave. Stunning and brave. Yes. So brave. Sorry, I'm chewing on my cookie here. By the way, thanks, to the people who have already shared the stream. That would be Somnambul Nation TC, Jimmy Das Hotep. Who is this? Oh, Man Squatch. And Sure You Gospel and Somnambul Nation again. Thank you for doing what you do. Please share the stream, hit the like button, and sponsor the show. Now, what happened to my donation goal? What happened there? All right, we're going to fix this. I'm going to make it a daily one because, what's the date today? 03. What's the date today? 2021? Let's see if that works. There we go. We're doing a daily donation goal, and we're going to try to make it $50, and we're going to see if we can hit that on any given day. And I'm trying to figure out what the prize is for that. The other thing I want to do, I'm probably going to open up memberships on YouTube, but I want to see what kind of perks do you think there should be for memberships? Obviously, you get little special badges and shit like that, but I don't know if that's exciting. But I think I want to occasionally do a members only live streams, like maybe on Sunday evenings or Sunday sometimes, and just do something exclusively for people who becomes members, because I got to make this self-sustaining. So I mean, you understand that, because otherwise I might have to get a third job. Oh, by the way, good morning to number one. I see you, and also Steph Colonel. What's up, Steph? Good to see you. And Sarah. Oh my gosh, Sarah's here. So I miss you. I know Lady Boomer would be excited to know that you were here today. So anyway, thanks for being here. All right, let's continue. Barron Trump is trending. And I don't have a special day today other than the fact that Leo Varadkar's resigned. Wait, what happened here? Why is this all messed up? Damn it. That should be, what is that supposed to be? Hump Day. Hump Day! What is this one? Leo Varadkar. Okay, I'm back on track. Okay, Barron Trump is trending because Barron Trump is turning 18 today. Barron Trump, the president's youngest son, his son with Melania, who is like he's like 6'8" or 6'7" or 6'8". He's a tall dude. He turns 18 today. And now what's happy birthday, Barron Trump. But what is significant about him turning 18, at least for some people, see, there's people who are assholes on the internet, And Mike Singleton is one of those assholes. And here's how Mike Singleton is he deleted it finally. Mike Singleton wrote on X, Barron Trump turns 18 today. He is fair game now. Now, needless to say, Mike Singleton got ratioed to hell on that one. Like 3,100 comments to 631 retweets. Okay. And one of the most common comments on that is, Mike. Well, here's what my comment was when I first saw that, because I saw it before I saw a lot of the other comments about this. And I said, he's not going to fuck you, dude. Sorry, Mike. He's just not. So if that's what you were waiting for him to turn 18 for, no. The fair game was now they want to rip on Barron Trump. Now, why would you rip on Barron Trump? What has Barron Trump done to anybody other than being a Trump? But that is how some people see it. Oh, he's fair game now. And then Alex Cole liked to put up the fun fact, when Barron Trump was born, his father was having an affair with a porn star. Well, yeah, that's fucked up. And look, Trump's a jackass, so it's okay. You know, it is what it is. I don't think he got any blowjobs in the Oval Office, but whatever. So anyway, happy birthday, Barron Trump. That's all I have to say about it. There's a few people being snarky about it, but most people, even on the left, are saying, yeah, that doesn't mean you should go after him now. He hasn't done anything to upset you. Now, if he goes out in campaigns and has a fiery speech where he talks about bloodbaths and shit like that, then you go after Barron Trump, lefties. But until then, fuck you. All right, let's move on. We have our first sponsor of the day. We're getting closer to that $50 mark. Hello, thank you, Zed the Snarky, and you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Yeah, baby. Way to go. Appreciate it. Thank you. Dropping a big $5.56 in the tip jar, also known as a big bullet. Zed the Snarky says, by his own logic, Singleton himself hit 18 years ago and has been fair game ever since. Well, yeah, because he's a shitbag. He's absolutely fair game. Thank you for sponsoring the show, sir. Appreciate it. You are a great American. All right. Also trending, a happy 18th because Barron Trump turned 18. We'll skip that. Also trending, Ron Paul is trending. Ron Paul, the former congressman from the great state of Texas, is trending. And that's because he apparently went on Tucker Carlson's internet show recently and was interviewed for the man who correctly predicted most of the big disasters of the last 20 years. Ron Paul is remarkably humble. Let's do this little clip from that particular interview. Let's try this one right here. Let's see it go.
The date, I say it was concrete that there was a coup and we lost our government was November 22nd.
Yes.
The assassination of Kennedy.
That was 60 years ago, and our lawmakers never talk about it.
But you mentioned to me earlier and brought back in memory, but do you know who they appointed to the commission? Alan Dulles.
He was on the Warren Commission.
Yeah.
So the guy who was responsible for the murder.
He probably was the most
was investigating the murder.
That's dawned on me. The Republic is gone. That's when I said the day it ended. The date
Okay, so that's an example. Let's see. What's this one? Oh. Oh, here's another one. Ron Paul drops a bombshell question on government authority. Okay, let's see what this one is.
If you and I can't steal from our neighbor, and we can't take their car, and we can't hurt people, why is it that we let the government do it? You want to go to your neighbor and you say, well, you have 3 cars and I don't have any. I want one of your cars. Most people say, well, that's illegal.
You can't just take someone's car.
No.
But the government
can. The government's taking stuff from us all the time. And most of the taking is from the people who work hard, they're middle class and they're poor, and they and they suffer the consequence of inflation. If you and
All right, so there you go. That's an example or a sample from the interview with Tucker Carlson. I think you can find that on this link, the entire interview on one of these, or you can go to Tucker Carlson's Twitter page. It's on his Twitter feed. He puts all the shows on there. So there you go. Let's see. Here's someone talking about it. Ron Paul slams the government on Tucker Carlson. Same thing about stealing from people. Also, someone here says clandestine, says within the last 48 hours, both Ron Paul and General Flynn have warned of a coming black swan event. These two men have been pretty accurate over the last decade. It might behoove us to listen. The enemy will not roll over and allow Trump to win. They have something planned. So here's what Ron.
we're reaching this point where
Here's what Ron Paul said, as far as that is concerned. We'll show you both.
we're reaching this point where some sudden thing is going to happen. I believe in that theory of the black swan.
Yes.
It's going to pop up, and it's not going to be controllable. But people, you ask, what can they do? I think the most important thing is understand what's going on.
Okay.
We're reaching this.
And then there's also
things, we call them black swan events, right? Black swan events are things that nobody imagined could occur, and yet they did, right? And they and then they have these incredibly, mostly devastating effects. So there's things, we call them black swan events.
So, interesting predictions from a couple people who are good at making predictions. So, I don't know what that means. By the way, Avocados Diablo, thank you for saying today is National 3D Day. Third day of the third week of the third month. Thank you, Avocados Diablo. Appreciate that.
Where some
shut
sudden thing is going to happen.
up! Moving on. Also trending, Jim Jordan is trending. Now, the reason Jim Jordan is trending partially is because Peter Navarro is going to jail, or reported to jail for contempt of Congress. And there are people saying that, well, Jim Jordan also did not answer a subpoena from the January 6th committee. Remember the January 6th committee that they refused to allow him on? And so some people are saying that they should also cite Jim Jordan for contempt of Congress. Now that would be a hell of a trick now, because right now Republicans are in the majority in the House of Representatives. So I think the referral would have to come from the House of Representatives. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe Democrats could make that same referral. But people are asking, also talking, he was on Newsmax talking about the impeachment inquiry to Joe Biden, the addled one. Here it is. Luke Beasley. Peter Navarro will serve a 4-month sentence for contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with the subpoena from the January 6th committee. This is a great reminder that Jim Jordan also ignored a subpoena to testify before the January 6th committee and should be held accountable. Now, what's amazing about this, do you know how many, there are Democrats all over the place that have failed to ignored subpoenas from Congress. And most notably, the biggest one was Eric Holder. Eric Holder refused to testify under subpoena for the Fast and Furious debacle. Never showed up, and was not held in contempt of Congress. They didn't put him in jail for 6 months. Nothing. So it's interesting. I mean, I'm still kind of it's still interesting that they've never done that. But people are talking about Jim Jordan all the time. But that's the one that a lot of people are talking about. And again, here's another one. If Peter Navarro could go to prison for defying a congressional subpoena, Jim Jordan could go to prison for defying a congressional subpoena. That's what they're saying. So there we go. And then also Jim Jordan rips Ketanji Brown Jackson's concern about the First Amendment hamstringing the government. How long is this? That's too long of a clip. She said, you've got the First Amendment hamstringing the government. Well, that's what it's supposed to do, for goodness sake. It's literally one of the craziest things I've ever seen. That you could have a Supreme Court justice say that in the oral argument made no sense to me. This is Friday because she really believes that, and that is scary where we're heading. Understanding what took place here. This was censorship by surrogate. This was big government telling big tech to take down speech that they disagreed with, and it was the most fundamental kind of speech. It was political speech. So, and then that interview's on there. So all these links are for different things Jim Jordan's trending for. Will be in the tab. Again, I drop all these links in the in a single link at the end of the show in the chat. One tab link, just click the link and everything will be on one page. You can find it all. Moving on, Letitia James is still trending because of this judgment and her concern to her desire to begin taking control of Trump properties in the state of New York. Now, one interesting thing about this, because Trump's not coming up with a $454 million bond, right? And there's some people very critical of this judgment. I'm going to show you Kevin O'Leary's because this is probably my main topic today too, because I'm wondering if the New York judgment and the New York law that requires you to put up the amount of judgment in order to appeal the judgment, if those are constitutional. And I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to show you a couple things that makes me think there's a possibility they are. And maybe there's people who are more in tune to the law than I am. Good morning, Rod Line, by the way. And Unacceptable Views, good morning. And I think that's everybody. So first, let's watch Kevin O'Leary talking about this, because this is Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary takes a bite out of Letitia James' New York case against Trump. And I don't know when this is from, but this was on This is CNN. Let's put this on the screen, full screen, please. Thank you. There we go. Here we go. Here it is.
I don't think this case is about Trump anymore. I think this case is about New York. It's about the American brand. It's about what we promised the world in terms of fairness and justice and investing capital in a country that's built the largest economy on earth. Forfeiture, seizing of assets, is that in our nomenclature in America? Is that what we tell people that want to bring their money here and protect property rights? Forget about Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. You think this is good for business in New York? You think this is good for business in America? To take a law
she's over here laughing because she thinks it's funny.
Refrigerators at an overpriced value decades ago and apply it against an individual and then talk about seizing assets like he was in Venezuela or in Cuba? This is a very, very, very bad look for New York. And everybody around the world is watching this. This may be great for the Attorney General, but this is not good for America.
But in terms of the valuation, can you be clear as to why? I mean, why would the properties not be sufficient collateral?
Because, oh my God, did anyone read the fucking judgment? I can answer this before he does. Let's see if we have the same answer. Because the judge forbade him from borrowing from banks that do business in New York. So he can't use them for collateral as far as from banks. And for bonds, that's not how they work either. You can't, no one will put up a $454 million bond on this case. Holy shit.
What a great message to send out all around the world. Take a claim where there was no monies lost. There was no fraud here in the context of actually people losing money. Deutsche Bank, who made the loan, was made whole. And let's make a penalty of $500 million against a crime, apparently, where no monies were lost. Great message for New York. Great message for America. Bring your capital because we'll protect your property. I think that was a statement that would be much better made sometime in Venezuela. I'm not kidding. That's a scary, scary message. And by the way, There are no
Again,
such thing
the
as
laws
$500
exist
billion
to protect the
bonds.
marketplace.
There are no
Bullshit! Oh my God! Hello, Tyler F. By the way. Holy shit! They're trying to there's only one way they can justify this. It's because it's Donald Trump, and they are totally dismissing the fact that all you have to do is get on their bad side, and they will find a way to steal from you. That's exactly what this case is. This is the most bullshit case I've ever seen. And this judge did it without a jury, without any real, the judge made his decision before the trial even started that Trump committed fraud. But notice how they don't try for criminal fraud, because if it were criminal, it would have to be in front of a jury. So they made this civil judgment to avoid having to go to a jury, because I don't even think the asshole juries in New York would consider this fraud. Holy shit.
$500 million bonds. Never been done before. Never. This law has never been applied. Forget about Trump. Nothing to do with Trump. Everything to do about America and the New York brand. I love this state. My children live here. A horrible message to everybody around the world watching this. Absolutely horrific.
Well,
This
wait,
case
Kevin,
goes
Kevin,
way
but
past
hold on a
Trump.
second, Kevin.
Trump
What
will
would
be
be
gone one day. This
hold on a
attorney
second.
general will be gone one day, and this
I
is
have
what
a
you want to
wonderful
tell
voice,
people
and
around
it
the
won't
world.
be talked
This
over.
is how we
Kevin
treat money
O'Leary,
in America.
I would like to hear what you have to say, but
America.
what are you doing?
Not America.
But it's not America, but it is.
Okay, so anyway, he's obviously he's pissed. So anyway, lots of people still talking about this case. So obviously we come to this. Letitia James is single-handedly destroying America. Let's see what this says on PJ Media by Athena Thorne. Stability, fairness, safety, prosperity. These words are used to be the linchpins of blah, 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 blah. Let me just try that again. These words used to be the linchpins undergirding the American brand. It was the reason why the best of the best came here to invest, trade, work, and grow. It's why the World Trade Center was located in New York City. When you are the strongest, greatest country in the world, no other country can destroy you. Only you can destroy yourself, and we are busy doing that right now, and this is nowhere more evident than in once world-class New York City. As you know, the militant partisans who have taken over the legal system in New York have been busily working to bankrupt and crush former President Trump and current leading candidate Donald Trump. I said it twice. Unable to prove a negative in the case of a flaky writer E. Jean Carroll, Trump has already coughed up $92 million to post a bond where he appeals. Now, leftist judge Arthur Endmoron, I know it's Engoron, but I call him Endmoron, in concert with New York's Attorney General Letitia James, is demanding Trump put up another $464 million in cash so he can appeal the monstrous judgment against him. Of course, no one has that much cash on hand, even people worth billions, and Trump is no exception. Most insurers can't post it either. And so the Donald is stuck. Since James is interested in political retribution, not justice, she isn't even trying to work with him. She is now threatening to start seizing his assets. When Engoron first announced this ludicrous judgment against Trump, you could almost hear the rushing sound as New York real estate investors started heading for the door. Now that Trump's lawyers have said it's unlikely he will be able to post bond, without which he cannot appeal the ruling as per New York law, which I believe that would be unconstitutional, the U.S. Constitution, and if you apply the 14th Amendment to the state of New York. And James has threatened to seize his assets. Anyone who's still on the fence has seen enough. Vodka Pundit, Stephen, I can't remember, what's Stephen's name? Anyway, he goes by Vodka Pundit, already explained. A wild precedent has been set that normal business practices where no one felt ripped off and everyone made money can lead to ruinous judgment and essentially no chance of appeal. When James says she'll seize Trump's assets, it made the hairs stand up on the arms of every single developer in the city. What if I piss off Letitia James? Is now at the top of a list of concerns that usually limited to economic matters. And then we saw what Kevin O'Leary said But his last words, Kevin O'Leary said, were hopeful in some deus ex machina relief. The whole world is watching and everybody's waiting for one thing we haven't got yet. Adult supervision. Where is it? Where are the adults in this crazy narrative? Certainly, there's got to be adult supervision at some point. And I understand, the war going on here and all the political yada yada, woof, woof, woof. We need an adult in the room now. This is the United States of America under siege. And yes, I said that verbatim. Now, there is certainly an argument that Trump could make an emergency appeal for relief to a higher court, citing violations of the 8th Amendment, excessive fines, and the 14th Amendment, due process. But in the United States of America, it should have never have gotten this far. And at this point, the rot in our legal system has become so advanced, it reaches so high that there may no longer be any adults to call in the room. America may be at a crossroads, but some of us still have our heads on straight. That includes you, our reader, and that's just PJ Media talk. But anyway, now, of course, as I said, I mentioned the 8th and 14th Amendment earlier too. How about you? So anyway, we're going to skip through a couple things and we'll get to those things, those two. Other things trending because of this though. I'm like Mike Tyson. It's this though. Excuse me. Let me take a sip. Dan Rather's trending because he decided to chime in on this thing. Dan Rather, now remember who Dan Rather is. He's the disgraced former CBS News anchor who forged some documents to try to get George W. Bush not reelected. Hello, those ain't real, dude. Good morning. Yes, Kenneth. Dan Rather, in his lack of brilliance, said this. New York Attorney General Letitia James is now allowed to seize Donald Trump's assets starting Monday. I hear Mar-a-Lago may have some value. Now, Cannibalistic Wizards in the house. What's up? So, and some people saying Dan Rather's a straight up fascist. That sounds pretty fascist to me. Others saying Dan Rather is once again pontificating about conservatives, disinformation, misinformation, and lies. The man who forged government documents to blow up George Bush's campaign thinks he's morally superior to you. That's true.
Your life makes me sad.
Dan Rather used faked, forged, unauthenticated documents to try to sink the 2004 election to John Kerry. Didn't verify the basis of his story. Rather, and a 60 Minutes producer lost their jobs when it came to light. He's now a venerated journalist for integrity and courage. No, he's a fucking clown. So anyway, fuck Dan Rather. It's not even Thursday. Also trending because of this is cash. And again, this is another reason why wealth tax doesn't make sense. When people say wealth tax, and this is a good case in point, billionaires do not have billions of dollars on hand. Their wealth, their net worth of billions is almost always tied up in some sort of assets that would require liquidation if they were get to them. So all these people are going, see, Donald Trump's not really a billionaire. He doesn't have $454 million. Yeah, moron. It's in assets. And you would have to liquidate the assets to do that. And he doesn't want to liquidate his assets. Why would you liquidate assets if you're trying to appeal something that you believe will be overturned? But that's another reason why I think the New York law might be unconstitutional. We'll get to that. I'm getting to it because there's a couple other things trending. Mark Cuban is also trending about this. And for once, Mark Cuban said something smart. He's broke a clock theory. Mark Cuban, I think he might have been responding to Ted Lieu, one of the dumbest, not the dumbest, Hank Johnson, but one of the dumbest congressmen that we have. And he said to Ted Lieu, "You are wrong." Giving Democratic representative an investing lesson after he questions Trump's billionaire status. Oh, Mark Cuban. What's up with Mark Cuban? Billionaire Mark Cuban on Tuesday gave Democratic representative from California, Representative Ted Lieu, an investing lesson after he expressed doubt about former President Donald Trump's billionaire status. Trump's lawyers said the former president is unable to post a $454 million bond in his appeal of the New York civil fraud judgments against him. Cuban said that although he is anti-Trump, Lieu is wrong that the former president's inability to post bond let's see. Liu's wrong. Okay, he said that Liu said that the former president's inability to post bond means he's not a billionaire, explaining that one does not need $1 billion in cash in order to have this status in Tuesday's post. So here it is. I should probably just put the tweet up here because this is be much easier. So here is Ted Lieu. Trump claims he is a billionaire, but he can't pay a $464 million judgment. That means he's lying. How do I know? Math. I thought I already made this joke. I thought Asians are supposed to be good at math. So here's Mark Cuban to the rescue, or not even to the rescue, just with facts. Ted, you know I'm no supporter of Trump. That's for damn sure. How anyone can vote for someone who has had so many of his executive employees turn on him and say he is incompetent is beyond me. But you are wrong on this topic, Ted. Net worth is completely different than cash in the bank. We were in a zero interest rate environment for a long time, so keeping cash in the bank or even money markets was dumb. In fact, searching for a yield that is what killed small banks last year. Also dumb was keeping interest rates that low for that long, something Trump demanded more of. Oh. So you can argue that Trump put himself in this situation by making sure that the only way to grow his net worth was non-cash investments. You can argue Trump sucked at growing his net worth, which led to him putting himself in his position by lying to banks about his assets, which, whatever. There's only one reason to lie on a loan application. You have to. Well, no, because they loaned him not based on what he told them. On a more macro basis, Ted, even if rates were along a long-term trend line for the past 10 years, few people are keeping more than 45% of their assets in liquid assets. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble here. And as far as the bond companies, Trump's assets are mostly interest in commercial real estate and foreign assets. No bond company is loaning against them in this commercial real estate market, if ever. So, now that's interesting. Now some asshole said here, I agree with you, Mark, but the way Trump talks, it's as if he has tens of billions of dollars. Well, no, he doesn't. He just says he's a billionaire. So even if only 30 or 40% of his wealth was in cash, he still has enough money to put down in a bond, right? And this Cuban answers that. You can go back to his Federal Election Commission's candidate reports to get a sense of his cash. It certainly isn't that much in cash. So let's see. I took a picture of Trump Tower in Chicago on the Chicago River tour last week. A building that's about the size of his was $800 million. That's just one of his buildings. You don't have to like Trump to acknowledge he's a billionaire. So that's net worth. And he doesn't have, look, he had a $400 million loan from Deutsche Bank to put another property together, and he's paid the loan off somehow. So Deutsche Bank said, that's why we do business with him. We loan him money and he pays it back on the terms that we gave to him. So anyway, Mark Cuban, very good. So anyway, so now I want to get to, I'm going to skip, Anthony Blinken's trending also. He's in the Philippines, and the people in the Philippines don't want him to be there, and they're burning American flags and shit. And this is mostly over Israel of Gaza stuff. Filipinos tore up U.S. flags in Manila in response to a visit by U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The visit comes amid mounting tension in the South China Sea. Blinken made it clear that the U.S. will militarily secure its interests in the region if armed clashes with China break out. Various leftist organizations, including the League of Filipino Students, organized protests condemning Blinken's visit as a part of the U.S.'s hegemonic agenda. Simultaneously, the ongoing protests voice opposition to China's aggression against the Philippines. So, yeah, they don't want anyone bugging them. They want everybody to just leave them the fuck alone. The U.S. has significantly bolstered its presence in the Philippines, transforming it into a key stronghold in the region and pushing the island nation closer to the front line in the geopolitical standoff with China. Last year, the U.S. approved the establishment of 4 new military bases in the Philippines, alongside the largest ever military exercises involving 12,000 U.S. troops. So a lot of the Filipinos just don't want to be the target, I guess, which, you know, take that as you will. But there's also a concern in the Philippines. Again, some of these same leftist protesters are protesting Israel, which they tie the United States directly to Israel. And let's see, what else? So let's get back to the Constitutional is trending, and now we'll get back to the main topic here. And that's because the Supreme Court has been discussing several constitutional issues, but let's get to the 18th Amendment. So I'll come back to that. 18th Amendment is trending, and this is why we're having a question about the judgment in New York. So the 18th Amendment of the Constitution, is it here? Part of the 18th Amendment, excessive bail shall not be acquired, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. So a lot of people are saying, okay, is the judgment in New York a violation of the 8th Amendment? And then I have one other thing it might be a violation of. So someone named Charles Down, Letitia James is violating President Trump's 8th Amendment rights. It's ironic how the left accuses Trump and his supporters of threatening democracy when the Democrats are the ones violating Americans' constitutional rights. So here's the Newsmax guy talking about that.
The most fascinating issue for me is really this 8th Amendment issue that's percolating up from the civil case in New York that Letitia James brought as a campaign promise and really a vindictive effort for her to push Donald Trump and his companies out of New York. But, there are supposed to be no excessive fines and, no cruel and unusual punishment. It's a constitutional right. It's our founding fathers knew this was a weapon used by the state to harm citizens that were out of favor. Well, 250 years later almost, here we are with this same threat, because the founding fathers understood one thing, and that was human nature. And so, I think we'll see that in the Supreme Court soon of the United States. And I think ultimately that almost $450 million fine now that Letitia James is celebrating the accrual of the interest on every day on Twitter, I think you'll see that ultimately be knocked substantially lower, if not eliminated, because, again, there was not a single victim in that case.
All right, so that's one opinion. Now, as I scroll through this, though, not everyone agrees. There's a guy down here. Where is it? Oh, this idiot. Here it is. Brittany, someone named Brittany says 8th Amendment violation. And he puts up this meme, and just like that, the entire Trump cult became legal scholars. Well, this guy, who is apparently an attorney, BC Law and Harvard Kennedy School. Ooh, he's got credentials. How'd that work out for Lawrence Tribe and what's that one, Judge Ludwig, on their amicus brief to the Supreme Court over the Colorado case? Yeah, Harvard Law don't mean shit to me. I had it right. They didn't. But anyway, this guy says the 8th Amendment refers to excessive fines. And he's claiming that Trump was not fined anything. He was found civilly liable in the amount of $454 million. The amendment also applies to criminal cases, not civil. Now, I have a question. When he says it applies to criminal cases, not civil. Interesting. Let's check the tape. Let's look it up. 8th Amendment. Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution. Let's find this here. Oh, here we go. Congress, Constitution, Constitutional. Let's find the Eighth Amendment. Oh, interesting. This is interesting. As I look at this, now it's a really small text. I apologize, but here it is. The Eighth Amendment to the Constitution. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Did you see anywhere where that said anything about only in criminal cases? That's weird. I don't know how that can be. Now, interestingly enough, there is one case. Now, this is a criminal case, but this might be Ruth Bader Ginsburg may have saved Donald Trump in this case. And I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be some emergency injunctive relief requested. We'll see what happens. They should. I don't know why they haven't already. That surprises me. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Trump's $355 million fine. And this is in the Los Angeles Daily News. I don't know their political leanings. I would guess it's probably on the right if they're going to have this opinion, but who knows? Maybe they just have a balanced editorial staff. But anyway, here it is. Let me tell you about the time that Ruth Bader Ginsburg saved Donald Trump $355 million plus interest. It was February 20th, 2019, and Justice Ginsburg delivered the opinion of the court in a case of Timms versus Indiana. In that case, police in Indiana had seized Tyson Timms' Land Rover SUV, which he bought for $42,000 with money he received from a life insurance policy when his dad died. The state sought civil forfeiture of the vehicle because Timms had pleaded guilty to a drug dealing and conspiracy to commit theft. Again, that's a criminal case, so maybe if it only applies to criminal cases, we don't know. However, the fine for the crime was only $10,000, and the vehicle was worth 4 times that. Taking the vehicle was an excessive fine, the judge ruled, and excessive fines are prohibited by the Eighth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The Court of Appeals agreed. Now, this is interesting because the $454 million is the fine plus interest on something that nobody lost money on. So it's interesting that they're claiming they're claiming, well, the banks would have made this much more money, but they're not collecting it for a victim. They're just taking it from him and it's going into state coffers. So that's absolutely a fine. It's not restitution. It's not restitution for the state. The state would not, there's no way that they could calculate the state lost $454 million because of some transactions by Donald Trump. They're claiming that that's what the banks would have gained, but they're not giving it to the banks. So anyway, so taking the vehicle was an excessive fine. The judge ruled excessive fines are prohibited by the Eighth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The Court of Appeals agreed, but then the Indiana Supreme Court reversed the rulings on the ground that the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on excessive fines applies only to the federal government, and it does not bind the states. Well, yes, it does, the U.S. Supreme Court said unanimously. Justices Neil Gorsuch and Clarence Thomas wrote separate concurring opinions stating that they would have arrived at the decision through different reasoning, but the conclusion was the same. There can be no serious doubt that the 14th Amendment requires the states to respect the freedom from excessive fines enshrined in the 8th Amendment, wrote Gorsuch. And then the 8th Amendment's prohibition on excessive fines applies in full to the states, wrote Thomas. The excessive fine clause traces its venerable lineage back to at least 1215, wrote Ginsburg. Magna Carta required that economic sanctions be proportioned to the wrong and not be so large to deprive the offender of his livelihood, which they are absolutely trying to do here. Timms versus it, because they're trying to bankrupt him, basically. Oh, by the way, let me go back to something that dipshit said about Mar-a-Lago. Who was it? Dan Rather said about Mar-a-Lago. I'm pretty confident that the state of New York cannot target any properties outside of their state lines. They have no jurisdiction in Florida to seize Mar-a-Lago. They have no jurisdiction, to seize his Scottish golf course or anything like that. The state of New York can only deal with what's within their state. The state of Florida ain't going to allow them to try to take Mar-a-Lago from him. But that's a lot of people saying, well, she's gonna take Mar-a-Lago from him. Yeah, that ain't happening. Anyway, so Timms versus United was a landmark decision. It was the first time the Supreme Court held that the Eighth Amendment's excessive fine clause applied to the states. Just 9 years earlier in McDonald versus Chicago, the Supreme Court had acknowledged in a footnote, we have never decided whether the Eighth Amendment's prohibition of excessive fines applies to the states, pointing to the 1989 case of Browning Ferris Industries versus Kelco Disposal, and which the court declined to decide the issue. McDonald versus Chicago was itself a landmark decision. In that case, the Supreme Court said that for the first time that the Second Amendment applies to the states as well as to the federal government. Yeah, because of the 14th Amendment. When ratified in 1791, the Bill of Rights applied only to the federal government, Justice Ginsburg wrote. How that eventually changed is a little-known part of the U.S. history that is about to protect former President Trump from the state of New York. The 14th Amendment was added to the Constitution after the Civil War. In 1868, it read, in part, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. However, this did not immediately make the Bill of Rights applicable to the states. That change began more than 50 years later. In 1925, in the case of Gitlow versus New York, the Supreme Court floated the idea that freedom of speech and of the press assumed to be among the fundamental personal rights and liberties protected by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment from impairment by the states. Gradually, over the next century, the court would pick and choose provisions of the Bill of Rights, declare them to be fundamental or deeply rooted in our history, tradition, and scheme of ordered liberty, and make them binding to the states. The history of this process can be read in Justice Samuel Alito's opinion for the court in McDonald versus Chicago. The Eighth Amendment reads, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. These cruel and unusual punishments clause was declared applicable to the states in 1962 in Robinson versus California. The excessive bail provision has applied to the states since the 1971 case of Schilb versus Kubel, and the excessive fines prohibition has been binding on the states since the 2019 Timms case. So, New York Judge Arthur Engoron fined the former president and 2024 frontrunner an astronomical $355 million plus $100 million and counting in interest. Engoron also prohibited the Trump Organization from taking loans from financial institutions that do business in New York for 3 years, and he banned Trump personally from working as a director or officer in any corporation or entity in New York for the same period. Engoron even refused Trump's request for a 30-day extension of the due date to pay the fine, which New York requires before he can appeal the judgment. This was a civil fraud trial without a jury in which the judge found Trump guilty of giving his assets a too high valuation to get good loan terms, even though the bank adjusted those values downward before approving a loan that was paid back fully and on time with interest. So, for good reason, the protection against excessive fines has been a constant shield throughout Anglo-American history. Exorbitant tolls undermine other constitutional liberties, wrote Ginsburg. This is all quoting from Ginsburg. Excessive fines can be used, for example, to retaliate against or chill speech of political enemies. New York Attorney General Letitia James campaigned on a promise to sue Trump, calling him an illegitimate president. She's an election denier. She said that she'll ask the courts to seize Trump's buildings if he can't come up with $100 million in cash in time to pay the fine. We'll see. It may get easier to go up against Trump than to argue with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So, Ruth Bader Ginsburg to the rescue. In fact, I should probably copy and paste that article. Let's see. What this jackass? Let's see if anyone's replied to him. Some other people mentioned that, so I'm not going to show it to them. All right. So anyway, now I have another issue, though, with this. The New York law that requires you to, pay your fine in order to appeal, or at least put up the money for a fine in order to appeal a ruling. And I wonder, again, this is something, I'm not a lawyer, but I know I read a lot, and I once slept at a Holiday Inn Express. And I'm wondering if that would qualify as a bill of attainder, which is unlawful. So I looked this up, and I don't know if this applies or not. If any lawyers who want to, tell me I'm an idiot or I'm brilliant, let me know. But it seems to me, because we talked about this the other day, let's say you have a judgment, like just a normal person, not Donald Trump, just a normal person, right? And you have a judgment where the judgment against you means you lose your home, okay? And you want to appeal that judgment in the state of New York. But you don't have enough for the bond. Let's say the value of home is $200,000. I'm just going to put out a number. But you don't have any way to get $200,000 other than to borrow against your home. But the state has ruled that you're not allowed to borrow from your own home for 3 years. And they want it paid in 30 days. So the only way you'd be able to get the value of your home is to sell your home. But you're planning on appealing the judgment. But in order to appeal the judgment, you have to sell your home. But what if you win the judgment? You've already sold your home. You can't get your home back. Okay? I hope you're following me here. And that's the problem. So it is kind of a cruel and unusual punishment. In order to actually participate in the legal system, you have to take a loss of something. And that's what a bill of attainder sort of is, okay? Here's what this is from the Cornell Law School. A bill of attainder is a piece of legislation that declares a party is guilty of a crime. Bills of attainders allow the government to punish a party for a perceived crime without first going through the trial process. Which, if you're not yes, you've gone through the trial process. Have you completed the trial process, though? No. In the United States, the bill of attainders are unconstitutional, as stated in Article 1, Section 9, Article 1, Section 10, and Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 9 prohibits federal bills of attainder, and Article 10 prohibits bills of attainder by the states. The constitutional ban on bills of attainder works to uphold separation of power principles by preventing Congress from assuming the functions of the judicial branch. Courts have adopted a three-part test to determine if a law functions as a bill of attainder, and this is the state of New York. The law inflicts punishment. The law targets specific named or identifiable individuals or groups. These individuals or groups would otherwise have judicial protections. So, for example, in Nixon versus the administrator of government services, the court determined that the punishment for the purposes of bills of attainder were determined by considering whether the statute would historically be viewed as punitive, whether the statute viewed in terms of burdens and severity can be reasonably said to further non-punitive purposes, was that a congressional intent for the statute to further punitive goals. So in the state of New York, for example, so they have this law that says you cannot appeal a case without paying or coming up with a bond for the amount that you are fined. Well, so in other words, you cannot complete the process without giving away assets or cash. So I don't know. Is this New York law that requiring that you pay the entire fine before you can appeal the case, is that an unlawful bill of attainder? I don't know the answer to it. I mean, it sounds logical to me, but who knows? All right. So that's the main part of the show today. Let's go through some headlines that you can see in the links that I pop into the chat right after this. So the SCOTUS is trending for multiple reasons, obviously. There's all kinds of things going on. And I tell you what, it might be the most interesting trending topic today because there's tons of stuff, and I highly recommend you go through it. But the Supreme Court did lift a stay on Texas law that gives police powers to arrest migrants at the border. Now, this is not the final decision on this particular case, okay? And the conservative judges said, well, until they go through the process, you can execute your law. And the liberal justice said, no, you can't do this. And I think in the end, the Texas law will be found unconstitutional. At least I would think so. But for now, the Supreme Court said you can execute the law until we get this case in the normal manner. A divided Supreme Court has lifted a stay on a Texas law that gives police broad powers to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally while a legal battle over immigration authority plays out. So they're allowing it to continue while the battle over immigration authority plays out. In the end, I'm surprised. Let me just say this. I am very surprised that they allowed this because as much as I hate it, because this administration don't give a fuck, immigration is the jurisdiction of the federal government, not state governments. And I hate that this administration's in charge of it right now because they suck at it and they're fucking shit up. But this is probably the wrong decision until it gets to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court lifts a stay on Texas law that gives police broad powers to arrest migrants at the border. A divided Supreme Court on Tuesday lifted the stay. Why did they say it over and over? The Biden administration is suing to strike down the measure, arguing that it's a clear violation of federal authority that would hurt international relations and create chaos in administering immigration law. A judge could then order them to leave the U.S. Texas has argued it has a right to take action over what Greg Abbott has described as an invasion of migrants at the border. So this is one of those stories that's not even complete because they're still editing it. I don't know if let's see what happens when I refresh it. Nope, still the same. Oh, they did edit it a little bit. No, they didn't. Anyway, it's a very poorly written story. Anyway, that's what's going on there. Hey, this crazy lady's back. And she has written a new memoir, and of course it's going to come out in an election year because this is Democratic strategists, claiming that she's reviving her accusations against Brett Kavanaugh. Jesus Christ. Anyway, and now she's going to profit from it. The story that she couldn't verify, she couldn't remember where, she couldn't remember when, none of her friends would testify in agreement with her. And the funny thing about this, you know what I hear all the time people say, and as far as this particular case goes, the left-wing haters of anything on the right claim that Brett Kavanaugh's a rapist. He's a graper. She never accused him of that. In fact, she barely accused him of anything other than being an asshole. But that was supposed to derail his appointment to the Supreme Court that he was an asshole in high school. And fortunately, and she couldn't even remember where, it. Oh my God, it's stupid. She tried to get him derailed from the Supreme Court for being an asshat. There was not even sexual assault. I mean, just that he did, whatever. So anyway, but so they have this, she has this memoir to revive her infamous 2018 accusations against now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Since its release on Tuesday, the corporate media have been heaping praise on Christine Blasey Ford's book, One Way Back, a memoir, hailing it as a triumphant return to the events of 2018. Triumphant? You looked like an idiot. Quote, comes to read as an indictment, not of one person, but of a form of politics that sees stories as weapons in an endless war, wrote Megan Carber of The Atlantic. A thoughtful exploration of what it feels like to become the main character in a major American reckoning, a woman tossed out to sea and learning that the water is shark infested, or at the very least, blooming with a red tide, writes Monica Hesse of The Washington Post. On Tuesday, on an appearance on The View, co-host Joy Behar even took a moment to scold male members of the audience for not applauding Christine Blasey Ford's presence. You're supposed to clap, you assholes! Conspicuously absent throughout all of the corporate media's praise of Ford's book are any mentions of Mark Judge's 2022 memoir, The Devil's Triangle, also on Amazon, in which he chronicled his experience behind the scenes away from the media circus, finding himself in a Kafka-esque scenario as Democrat operatives and their media allies engaged in witness tampering, extortion, and outright cruelty in their quest to destroy an innocent man. Yeah, I mean, I've just got to tell you, this was insane. And now she's writing a book about it. Oh, of course, it's an election year. You got to do that. So anyway, yeah, you can get more details in Breitbart. PJ Media, the hell? As Biden condemns Islamophobia, U.S. Muslim clerics makes a spine-chilling remarks about Jews. What? What was it? Where is it? On Biden, okay. Here it is. On Monday, Ibrahim Hooper of the Hamas-linked Council on American-Islamic Relations, also known as CARE, declared that Biden's statement wasn't good enough. He said, from Joe Biden on down, liberals denounce anti-Muslim bias to avoid mentioning the scourge of hate against Palestinians, Gaza, genocide, and their intercept. He included that last tag because he linked to Monday's article, The Intercept, entitled, Let's Name It Not Just Islamophobia, but Anti-Palestinianism. This article leads off with 3 alleged incidents of Islamophobia, at least of which the killing of 3 Muslim college students in Vermont has nothing actually to do with the hatred of Muslims at all. The killer had, in fact, defended Hamas, and so there was no evidence whatsoever that his murder had anything to do with anti-Palestinian hate. So anyway, on March 8th, Dr. Fadi Yusuf Kablawi, an imam in Miami, said, Allah revealed to the messengers instantly, we will defeat the oppressors and we will make you the dwellers of their land, of their homes. By Allah, those sentiments that they built, by Allah we live in them, by Allah we will seize them, by Allah we will enjoy them, by Allah we will live in them. If it is not us, our children will live in them. By Allah, the law of Allah, and the Sharia of Allah, we will rule the land. So basically, they're going to take over the United States. There's more in the article, but you can read it yourself. PJ Media also, Trump takes heat for his remark about Jewish Democrats. Basically, he said, if you're voting for Joe Biden, you ain't Jew. I mean, it's just probably the equivalent of that. Maybe you should lay off those kinds of statements. But he was saying, why do Democrats hate Israel? And you can read it yourself, but probably not the best rhetoric. It wasn't anti-Semitic, though. They're claiming he was being anti-Semitic, which he's not, clearly. Let's see. Susan Wild spoke at a CARE event days before calling herself very pro-Israel. This is Representative Susan Wild from, what state is she from? I can't remember. Anyway, she spoke at a CARE, Council on Islamic Relations or American Islamic Relations event, the pro-Hamas wing of whatever. And then she said she's pro-Israel. So she's got to decide which one she is, because those are kind of diametrically opposed. Or maybe she's just walking the tightrope. I don't know. And Breitbart, exit poll, immigration is a top issue among Ohio Republican primary voters who ended up voting for that guy that Donald Trump wanted to take over for Sherrod Brown, the shitbag senator from Ohio. You can read more about that. DeSantis says Haitians who illegally arrive in Florida could very well be sent to Martha's Vineyard. Send them to Obama's home. Yeah. Apparently human traffickers are now, this is in MRC TV, which is a media research center. Human traffickers are now selling access to Biden's migrant parole program. Remember the one where the migrant parole program where they've been flying some people in because they apply somewhere else and then the Biden administration flies them in? Well, apparently the traffickers are now selling access to that program too. These guys are some capitalist motherfuckers. They know how to, some free market shit. They know how to work the deal. This one. Obama appointed judge dismisses gun charges against an illegal immigrant, saying illegal immigrants should not be deprived of his Second Amendment right. Now, this is in Illinois, where they don't believe that Americans should have gun rights. But boy, oh boy, a U.S. district judge appointed by President Obama dismissed gun charges against an illegal immigrant, stating that he should not be deprived of his Second Amendment right to bear arms in self-defense. U.S. District Court Judge Sharon Coleman of the Northern District of Illinois, who has twice previously denied the illegal immigrant's motion to dismiss the case against him, reversed herself in the case against Heriberto Carvajal Flores, who was found with a handgun in the Little Village neighborhood of Chicago in June 2020. So I have mixed feelings about that. He's here illegally, though. Does he have the rights of a U.S. citizen? In Florida, the Florida state attorney says Jack Smith may press red button to try to disqualify judge and get Trump. They're trying to get rid of Judge Cannon because they don't like the ruling she's making. Florida State Attorney David Armenberg asserted Tuesday that special counsel Jack Smith may resort to drastic measures to attempt to disqualify judge in the former President Donald Trump's classified documents case. What's he say? How long is this? Is this too long to play?
Jose, my head is spinning.
Okay, he was on MSNBC. You can imagine. You can watch it yourself. And there are a bunch of other articles. I don't have time, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What's the tweet here? Oh, new FBI data confirms previous indications that crime in the U.S. declined significantly in 2023, continuing a post-pandemic trend belying widespread perception that crime is rising. This is from NBC News and the FBI. I have to call bullshit on this. Unless you think that Kathy Hochul put the National Guard in the subway system in New York because crime is down. Now, since the pandemic, since Black Lives Matter rallies and whatever, they've had a concerted effort to, decriminalize certain things. So, for example, in California, they pretty much won't charge anyone on any charges of any kind of stealing shit unless you've stolen over, what is the $900 threshold. So, and I even see it here. I live in the freaking suburbs of the Twin Cities, and I see every once in a while in the grocery store, I see someone going out with a cart of groceries filled to the rim with meat and all kinds of other stuff, going out the side door away from the cashiers and trying to fill it in their car. I don't know. The idea that crime is down is a very dubious prospect to me. And it may be because it's about reporting property crime. So right here, new fourth quarter numbers show that 13% decline in murder from 23 to 22. From 23 to 22, from last year to this year. And it was down during the pandemic because you couldn't go anywhere. A 6% decline reported in violent crime and a 4% decline in reported property crime. Notice reported property crime. So they won't even take the report in California if it's under $900. I know that from my own experience. Even before that, when a car got broken in San Francisco. Yeah, you report it. They didn't really take a report. They'll just take your number, but they're not taking a report. So I got this little X'd out. Where is that? There you go. Anyway, there's a bunch of other articles. That's it. I got to go. Thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. I'll be back tomorrow on FTG Thursday. I'm going to not have so many articles open anymore. Well, I don't know. Did any of you read any of the stuff I put in the links? I put all the stuff that we went through in the links. So one tab link, one link, and you click it and you get everything we did for the day. I'll keep doing that. What the hell? Anyway, I got to go. Thanks for joining me today. Hit the like button. Share the stream after the show. And thanks for our sponsor of the day, Zed the Snarky. You are awesome. Thank you. I got to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.